What's up, guys? So I know I've promised this video for too long now, and to be completely transparent, I shot it probably 3, maybe 2 weeks ago, and number one, I talked way too much and I thought I was gonna lose you as soon as I started. Number two, I shot in my bedroom and the lighting was really bad that day, and it just, I don't know, I just didn't like it. So I had it edited still, and then once they showed it to me, I don't know, it just didn't seem like good to me, so I didn't use it. So in this video, I bought a new light, if you guys can't tell, and I'm not in my bedroom, sitting at the table, and I actually wrote down the questions this time. In the first video I shot, I was still going through Instagram and looking at the questions that you guys had sent. So I wrote down some of the top questions that I've gotten. I realized that I'm gonna have to break this video into parts because, no joke, I got so many questions about co-parenting. I was so overwhelmed, and I'm like, half of these questions I don't have answers to, and I really kind of like had to think to myself, like, wait, I don't know, I didn't feel right answering questions that I didn't feel like was a good answer. So I wrote down the questions that I think that I have appropriate answers to. Now, these answers to the questions about co-parenting strictly come from my experience with co-parenting and things that I've also seen within my family members who co-parent. So this is my opinion. I don't want anybody to hold me accord if something happens and they try to use this and be mad at me after. This is strictly my opinion, how I feel about things. You're perfectly welcome to rebuttal me in the comment section, but this is just my experience with co-parenting and how I handle certain situations that happen between Ryder's dad and I. So, quick backstory, if you don't know, which you should know by now if you've watched some of the other videos. I had Ryder, I met her dad on The Challenge, which is a reality show on MTV. He came into Ryder's life at 6 months after we got a DNA test done, and that is when our co-parenting started. That is like the briefest version that I can give you. So, we started when she was 6 months. I, in my head, completely thought that I would be a single mom, not co-parenting, anything like that, forever. So when he did come into her life and he was 1000% like, I'm gonna be here, I want to be in Ryder's life, I want to be 100% her dad, like, I don't want to be like an Instagram dad, I don't want to do this, like, I want to be in my child's life. And I'm looking around like, where the hell did you even come from? And now I have to share, like, now I have to bend my thoughts, my goals, my things that I had set up that I wanted Ryder to do, and now it's like, wait, I have to check in with someone else. Like, I have to now ask, like, hey, do you think this is a good idea? When in my head, I already know it's a good idea. Or when it comes to religion, or when it comes to school, public or private, do you, like, are you Christian? I'm Christian. Like, it was so many different things that we had to cover that what we honestly didn't cover prior to. And it was hard. So let's jump into the questions. Oh, that's perfect. What is the hardest thing about co-parenting? All of it. I don't know how else to explain it, but co-parenting is hard. And I think that for us, you guys see the glamorous side of it. You see what's on Teen Mom, you see what's on Instagram, and that is like, for like, to me, like, what we've gotten in like 2 fights on Teen Mom, and that is true. We don't fight often because I would say for us, we're both very non-confrontational people. I don't like confrontation. He doesn't really like confrontation either. So our fights have been limited, thank God, because when you do take, as he's calling. Hey, rise at my mom's, I'm shooting a YouTube video.
Okay,
What were we talking about? What is the hardest thing about co-parenting? I'm sticking to my answer. All of it is hard. Do you have to make it hard? No. One of the biggest things that my parents have put into me is it's not a problem unless you make it a problem. So pick and choose your battles almost. I feel like would be my greatest advice. Pick and choose your battles. There's some things that I would love to fight Corey on, but it's like, for what? Because I know that there's things that he would love to fight me on, and he just takes the high road and picks like, all right, this isn't, you know, I'm gonna let her have this one. And I have those days where I'm like, I'm gonna let him have this one. I think that because we have that mentality, it works really well with us. But yeah, co-parenting is hard. Sharing is hard. It's weird because during the week when I have Ryder, and Ryder's 3 now, and she is off the chain, energy level on 1,000 at all times. I want to play Barbies. I want to dress up. I want to bake. I want to cook. I want to run. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. Like, I can't get anything done. So I would be lying if I said I didn't look forward to Fridays, because she's going to her dad's house. But once Friday comes and I drop her off, I'm like, cool. You know, I'm driving home, and then I get home and I'm like, this is too quiet. Like, where's Ryder? This is, what am I don't got no plans. Like, then it's like I want her back. So it's definitely like it's a weird feeling of having to share, having to go drop her off, having to pick her up, Ryder just had a sister, you know. It's like, how's your sister, right? It just to me, it's all still so new and so fresh that I would say with co-parenting where I'm at, I genuinely have to take it day by day. I have to learn every day. Every day there's something new. It's a new conversation. And because Ryder is getting older, there's new questions that she's even asking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are we gonna do this right now? Like, you know. And it's hard because she is 3, but I swear she's way above her age and just so wise that I can't give her a BS answer. So if someone asks me what's hard about co-parenting, everything, all of it's hard. And it's something that I never thought I would be doing. I don't think anybody ever plans to co-parent. So it's definitely an adjustment. It's definitely a tough situation as when the kids get older and they start to ask more and more questions. It's hard if the person that you're parenting with, you guys just can't get on the same page about certain things, and it's like, who has to bend? And if you're always a person to bend, you hold like some resentment towards them. So co-parenting is definitely a tricky situation. It takes work, it takes time. It's all hard. I don't know. Let's see what the next question is. What are your core values when it comes to co-parenting? So I would say top things for me, and Corey and I talk about this a lot because we actually get asked these questions a lot, and these have been things that we have kind of looked at each other like, well, what's your answer? And what, you know, like playing off of each other. Number one, well, not number one in like any order, but just in my head, you have to have respect for the other person. If there's no respect, then you're always going to have some like negativity around you, and anything that person will suggest or present or say will piss you off. It is what it is. He can say, I want her to wear blue socks on Wednesday, and you would be pissed off for what? Like, and it's like, you have to respect the other person. You have to respect their opinions. You have to respect their thoughts, you know, when it comes to, I don't want Ryder to play football. I don't want her to hit her head. And if he's like, I was raised playing football, she wants to play football, it's like, okay, we have to find like a mutual balance and figure out, okay, how are we going to get to a point of compromise? So I would say respect. I would definitely say compromise is a huge thing when it comes to co-parenting. Flexibility is huge. I hear so many stories of families who are like, my child goes to her dad's house on Wednesdays and then every other weekend, and I'm like, well, what if he had something to do on Wednesday? Like, would you take, like, how does that work? And it's like, nope, the schedule's a schedule. And I get that some schedules are mandated by the court, so I'm not knocking anybody, by the way. If you have a tight schedule, you have a tight schedule. But I would say that with children and with adults, there's things that come up that are unforeseen, and you should have flexibility with your partner. I truly believe in flexibility, because there are times where I have something going on during the week and I can't call on my parents, I can't ask my sister to watch Ryder, so I need to call Corey. I know it's not your day, but hey, it is your kid. Can you help a sister out? And we have developed flexibility within our co-parenting situation that we need, because there's plenty of times where Corey calls me and he's like, so, I have something to do this weekend, can we switch days? And if I was so stuck on, this is my day and that's your day, that would be an argument right there. When if I really look at my calendar, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing nothing that day. I can for sure keep Rye. Like, I want to keep Rye. So it is what it is. But I have friends who I know who are like sticklers, and almost like they use that as a argument point. And it's kind of like, why? Like, you're not really doing anything. You're sitting here with me. Like, we could have had your kid. So flexibility is a huge thing. Compromise is a huge thing. Respect is a huge thing. Boundaries are a huge thing. Everybody knows that it took Corey and I a while to figure out our boundaries in our co-parenting relationship. I would say today, this day present, we have gotten a good balance of boundaries and respecting each other's relationships, respecting each other's families, each other's opinions, and so forth. But in the beginning of us co-parenting, we had no boundaries. We didn't even understand. I probably couldn't even spell boundaries. Like, it was so bad. And it caused a lot of confusion within our co-parenting. And then it was like, wait, do I like you? Do I not like you? Do I only like you because you're Ryder's dad and I want to make this work? Or do I really like you? Like, if I take Ryder out of it, do I still like you? So that was like my mind game almost. And when I realized, okay, we have to stop crossing these boundaries and just work on parenting and loving Rye and being good parents, and leave all the other crap alone. Boundaries are huge. What else? There was one other one that I always talk about. Oh, duh. Communication. You have to communicate. As you saw, I'm in the middle of a video. Corey calls. Normally during the week when he calls, it's for Ryder. He's calling to communicate. They have a photo shoot on Friday. Can you pack such and such and such? If I was a evil person, I'd say, go get your own clothes. Go figure out your own photo shoot clothes. But I'm not. Yeah, I'll find her a cute outfit. I want my kid to look cute in the pictures anyway. So, communication is huge. We communicate a lot because Ryder has, definitely has not intense, but she has a schedule, and we have to be on the same page. I would feel uncomfortable if we didn't communicate, because what are you doing over there and what am I doing over here, and are we on the same page about certain things? Communication is so big. You have to communicate. Now, if you're in a really negative situation with your partner who you parent with, there's apps that I know of, I can do more research on them, that's almost like it forces you to communicate well, and it takes out the negative stuff that you might be sending, and it won't send that. So if you're there, then we can talk about it. But if you're still in a situation where like you think that you guys can manage without these apps or without the court system, I would say communication is a huge part of co-parenting. And for me, the last thing is forgiveness. It sounds so corny to say, but forgiveness is real. I had to forgive myself for a lot of things, and I had to almost forgive him. Well, I did have to forgive him, if I'm being honest with myself. I had to forgive him, I had to forgive myself, and that was just in the beginning of us co-parenting. And then I realized throughout us co-parenting even more, I'd always have to forgive him for things, and he'd have to forgive me for things. And maybe I was having a bad day and he came to get Ryder, and I took it out on him, or vice versa. We've had those moments. Those moments have aired on TV. And I'd had to forgive him. Or even within us shooting for Teen Mom, the way we shoot and then when it airs is months later. Now, if I'm watching something and he says something that rubs me the wrong way, or that's negative, or I don't like, I'm I cannot go back and say, hey, you said this 6 months ago, let's sit down and talk about it, now we have an issue. It's like, that was how you felt in that moment, on that day, 6 months ago. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna forgive you without you even knowing that I'm forgiving you. So forgiveness is a huge thing. Hopefully Ryan, who edits my videos, will make a nice list of all the words I said. I'm gonna try to repeat them in order. Not gonna happen. Respect, compromise, flexibility, communication, boundaries, and forgiveness. Did I do it right? Okay, I don't know. This video is sponsored by Raycon. Raycon are wireless earbuds. I'm gonna take one out because they are noise isolating and I don't want to scream at you guys, but look how cute they are. They're super compact and they fit right into your ears. There's no like wireless strings dangling or anything like that. You can take phone calls on these. They come with this cute little charging case. This lasts up to 24 hours and your actual earbuds can last up to 6 hours of playtime. They're loud. I like them because the bass is really good on them and they're half off of the prices of most premium earbud companies. So they're super affordable. I use mine around the house, when I'm working out, when I want to listen to like a podcast or something and my daughter doesn't want to listen to what I want to listen to. So these have been perfect for me just being in the house. You guys can take advantage of this great offer that Raycon is doing right now. For 15% off, just click the link in my description box. I'm gonna put it right there. I'm also gonna put the URL right here for you guys so it's no confusion. So you guys go on and shop and get your Raycon earbuds and you're not gonna regret it at all. Make sure you guys head over to buyraycon.com/Cheyenne to shop for your everyday E25 earbuds. Oh my god, we get this question a lot. And I had to really think about how to answer it. But is it easier to co-parent because you guys didn't date? Yes and no. Yes, because if we would have dated, then who knows how we would co-parent. It would definitely be different because when you date, you have a mental, emotional, sexual, intimate connection, and depending on how long you dated, and all these different things play such a huge factor into that. Now, because we didn't date, it also played a huge factor into that. We had to get to know each other. I'm looking at him like, okay, shit, what's your last name? Who are your parents? Do you believe in God? Where are you from? Like, it felt so dumb to have to go back and handle these conversations that we probably should have had before we had sex. But hey, we're in the situation now. Let's get to know each other. We had to learn each other. We're still 3 years later learning each other. Does that make it harder or easier? I don't know, but it's not the funnest thing in the world that if we had been in a relationship, then 99% of the questions that I'm asking, I would know the answers to. But if we were in a relationship, I'm sure that I would hold more things against him and we would have like, you know, a harder time in that aspect. It's just different for us. So I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to that, but I hate when people just automatically assume it should be easier for us because we didn't date, when I'm like, not necessarily. Just because we didn't date doesn't mean that this is easy. I'm trying to get to know this man and he wants to pick up my kid, so was that easy? I don't know. But yeah, we get that question a lot. Oh, this is a good one. How has co-parenting affected Ryder? Because we've been co-parenting since she was 6 months, she doesn't remember prior to Corey. She's always just in her head had a dad, and a very active dad. Corey's not a sit-at-home type dad. He's like, let's go to the park, let's go to the beach, let's do this, I want to come watch dance class. Like, he's super involved with her. So that's all she knows. She also only knows what we've presented her with, which is our co-parenting schedule. I have Ryder throughout the week, and he takes her Friday through Monday. So we split our time pretty even. And this is what she knows. She knows that mommy and her have a house and that daddy and her have a house. She is starting to ask questions like, so what did she say last week? She was kind of talking to herself. Okay, so mommy's house and daddy's house and Taylor, but auntie's here. Like, she's trying to figure it out in her own way. And when I see her little mind working, trying to figure it out, I try to help her organize it in her head as to what's going on. Mommy and daddy had you, and then mommy went to her house and daddy went to his house. And Ryder has all these houses to choose from. And I definitely don't shy away from the conversation because I want her to feel comfortable asking questions. If she is confused, she needs to ask. With the new baby, with Mila, she was a little confused by that, and I had to explain, you know, daddy and Taylor had a baby. They're boyfriend and girlfriend, and they have a baby, and that's your sister, and Taylor's Mila's mommy, but I'm still your mommy. And she was like, oh, okay. So I think you have to talk to your kids not as adults, but they're not dumb. Like, they're not dumb. They're watching. They're sponges. They're picking up on everything. So you definitely have to be careful what you say in front of them. Ryder has come home and said, Mom, daddy called you crazy. Okay? So you have to watch what you say in front of your kids. Which is normal. Everyone has to do that. It is what it is. So I'm gonna do like 2 or 3 more questions just because I promised that I wouldn't make this video really long and that we would do this in a few segments or whatever. I keep on going to drink this, but if you saw it, it's thick as hell and it's not good. But anyway, back to the questions. What is the best thing about co-parenting? Who asked me this first off? What is the best thing about co-parenting? I would say that at the end of the day, the best thing is that you have 2 parents that are willing to make it work for the child. To me, that's what co-parenting is. Like, yeah, we're not together. No, we're not dating, but we are parents together. And that's awesome. I can complain all day long about Corey can complain all day long about me, but at the end of the day, we know that we both love Ryder. We put Ryder first, and I feel really, really good knowing that, God forbid, if something happens, that she has her dad in her life and this whole other family, you know. So there's positive when it comes to co-parenting, especially if you are able to co-parent healthy. In a healthy way, in a healthy fashion. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like my breaks on the weekends. I'm so sorry if that's bad to say, but yeah. Let me see, 1 more question. How would you feel if your child's father was dating someone that you didn't like and they didn't like you? Dun dun dun. Yikes. To be honest, I think most of you guys know if you follow the show, Taylor and I didn't like each other in the beginning. I'm not gonna sit here and list the reasons why we didn't like each other because we're past that, we're way past that, but we didn't. And I wasn't necessarily comfortable with Ryder being around her because to me it was like, if she doesn't like me, I don't want that to project onto the baby, or I don't want her to, you know, be negative towards Rye because I'm her mom or something like that. So that was kind of like my concern with it. And Corey and I got in a few arguments about that because he's like, how dare you think that I would put Ryder in a position for someone to be negative around her or to treat her in a bad way. So he was more so mad from that standpoint. And, you know, he hit me with the I'm her dad too and I can make, you know, decisions also. And I had to really think about it one day, like, damn it, you are right. So I don't know if there's a good answer to this question. It's a difficult situation to be in when you have that going on. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. It's bad. Like it's a shitty place to be in. But there are ways to, I feel like, make it better. So what we did was I said, hey, I know we're not all on the same page. There's some weird drama. I'm not really sure what the drama is, to be honest, but it's weird. I don't like it. he agreed, she agreed, and it was like, okay, we all need to sit down and have a conversation clearly to get past this, so that I'm comfortable with Ryder being around you, and so that it's not an uncomfortable situation, like it's like an thing that we didn't talk about or something, you know, when we both know it was happening. So we did that, and we were able to communicate and work through it and understand that we all had to respect each other for the greater good. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but once again, that was my situation with it. I would say that Taylor's not confrontational either, and I'm the same way when it came to that particular thing. And it was such a touchy subject because you're dealing with children, you know. How can you come in there guns blazing? You know, we were able to maturely handle whatever it was and to move forward, and to know that Ryder would come home and talk about how much she had fun with Taylor, and Taylor played Barbies with me, and Taylor did this, and Taylor did this, and Taylor did that. And I'm like, what did Dad do? And she's like, no, Taylor did this. I'm like, okay, I can't be mad at somebody who's putting time and energy and love into my child. You have to get over things. You have to, don't make a problem out of a problem. What am I trying to say? Don't make it a problem if it's not. There we go. I knew I said that was gonna be the last question, but I feel like I wrote one other one down that was a good one. Oh, have you ever felt like you were being selfish during your co-parenting experience, and if so, how do you control it? Yes. There's been plenty of times where I'm like, okay, I'm being selfish, I'm doing this for myself. That's nothing to do with Ryder, and I need to check myself and realize that, and know that, you know, if Corey acted the same way, we would get nowhere. If he was selfish with things and I was selfish with things, we would always be like butting heads and bantering and stuff. So there's been a few times, more than a few times, where I've had to sit back and I'm like, hey, don't do that, because you're just doing it because you're not having a good day. This has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with Ryder. But there are times where you do want to be selfish when you co-parent. Holidays, I want to be selfish. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what we're gonna do. I want to be selfish. I want Rye. There's just certain things like that that I don't think I'm ready for, where it's like, I know he's gonna want her and I'm gonna want her, and what do we do? How do we cross that? And to me, it's like, okay, I'm waiting to cross that bridge when we get there. But when it comes to co-parenting, it's hard not to be selfish. You both want your child. You both want to watch your child grow or to do first things. So it's definitely hard not to be selfish, but you definitely have to like check yourself back to know when you're doing it. And I've kind of learned myself to know when I'm doing it, and I have to like almost be mature enough to say, Shy, you're doing it again, calm down or something, you know. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. Thank you guys so much for asking me questions through my Instagram post that I put up, and feel free to comment more questions down below. I'm for sure gonna do another one of these videos. I know I didn't answer probably 90% of the questions that I was asked, but I just felt like we could break this up and make this like, you know, a few different talks, and bring other people in to have a talk also, and like get their opinion and voices on it. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, then let me know. Comment below whether you think we should keep this conversation going or whatever you guys think. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. And as always, I hope you guys are all being safe, staying home, being healthy. And yeah, we will talk soon, and make sure you leave me feedback so I know whether or not we should keep this conversation going.